Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm actually recording this episode on New Year's Eve because I am pretty adamant that on New Year's Day, I am not doing any work and it's just going to be another crazy week for me. So hello in 2025. I hope that the new year has started off really well for you. I'm just really excited for this year. If you listened in on my recap last week about the best and worst things that kind of happened to me and my business last year, you'll know that 2024 was not a favorite. So I am entering 2025 just with a lot of excitement because there's a lot of amazing things that are happening. I just finalized the bingo board. So in Marketing Business School this quarter and for this year, we're changing things up. I've talked a lot about accountability and action taking. And part of that is that we're doing quarterly marketing challenges. And so this first quarter, we're focusing on blogging. And so I've created a bingo board. If you've been around for a while, you may have remembered that I used to do bingo boards as almost like action and accountability boards. I can't just do a normal checklist. It has to be a little bit fun in order for me to want to get some action out of this. So just super excited to get that underway because it's not only going to be a challenge for members in there, but it's also going to be a challenge for me because I want to make sure that I'm also writing out a lot of blog posts for my own blog for the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. So super excited about that. We've talked about doing a lead magnet, almost like workshop. I had done this at the beginning of the year last year, and I think I'm just going to do it for a Marketing Business School this year because at our quarterly review meeting, a lot of us were talking about needing new lead magnets for 2025 and needing something that packed a little bit more punch. So I will probably be doing that at some point. I need to take a look at the calendar in addition to some of the other things that we do. I'm also super duper excited for Summer Camp at Sea that's happening this July. So if you have not already heard about Summer Camp at Sea, you'll want to tune in. I believe it's to the end of last week's episode, or feel free to email me. I do need to record like a video kind of describing Summer Camp at Sea and what I really hope to get. It is not a learning retreat. It is a doing retreat. It is a taking action retreat. So I love a good learning retreat myself, but this is not what it is. Like, I want to get the work done and I want to get the work done with you, hold you accountable, be your cheerleader, whatever it is that you need. So shoot me an email if you are interested in having some more information about that or just any of the information when it comes to Summer Camp at Sea that's happening this July. Now, last year, I started off with quite a powerful episode about how I 4.5x'd at least my email list in 2023. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that one, that is episode 133. So I was like, I really have to get this year started off with a bang. And I really love to share like my own personal stories of success. Now, what you'll hear from that episode is a lot of my success on how I grew my email list is because I collaborated with other businesses. And so naturally, that's the topic that kind of came up for me for this conversation because really the not so secret of my success has been collaborating and partnering with other business owners and other brands within this industry to really grow this podcast and to really grow Take the Helm. And so I think this is something that we get really nervous about because I know when I was more on the agency side, I was petrified to talk to any other people that weren't kind of like friends and family. And so I also want you to know that while this is something that seems a little bit easy for me now. It's only because I put the work in back in 2020 and at the end of 2019 that I am more confident. Now, I will say I am still fearful, anxious, especially to reach out to people that I don't know, especially in people who have higher ranking ish by title positions than me. But that fear kind of goes away when I know what the possibilities are from that potential relationship, from that potential whatever it is collaboration that we can come up with together. And that's what you have to think about, especially if you want to utilize collaborations as a tactic for your travel business and your travel agency, is that the desire for you to be successful and to try something new in order to be successful has to be much greater than the fear of putting yourself out there. That's something that you might have to overcome with time. That's something that you might have to pull off the Band-Aid. I knew at the end of 2019, I had to do things differently if I wanted to make money in my travel business, or else I was going to keep becoming a broke business owner that my job supported my business. And I did not want things to keep being that way. So I purposely put myself out of my comfort zone little by little again. I had to do like one thing and then I did another thing to make it a little bit easier, because now it's kind of like when you go to the gym and you want to build up your muscles or your legs or whatever body part it is. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to practice that every single time that you go to the gym. And my gym, or a version of the gym, really is Google, or it's different networking events, or it's different conferences and educational events. So you have to keep putting yourself out there in order for these opportunities to happen. You also have to be a little bit open, because sometimes there's a little bit of luck that comes in, really. And there have been opportunities that have fallen on my lap because I was in the right rooms. And so again, that's another thing that you have to put yourself out there. It's totally natural to be fearful and worrisome. The other thing that you need to think about, especially when you're thinking about collaborating with people as a travel advisor, I think like when you are thinking about partnerships, this can be referral partnerships. This can also be like joint venture partnerships. Especially if you might not have a big network. Who do you know that might have a big network that you can put a group together, a travel group together for them, and they can be your almost like initial Pied Piper for the group trips that you are wanting to put together. And that does not come unless you know exactly who it is that you want to work with. And especially if you're a little newer, you might not know who that person is. So I always like to say, look at yourself. Who are you? Are you a parent? Are you in a certain profession? Are you not a parent? Are you a fan of certain types of hobbies or leisure activities? Is it these nerdy movies like myself, or TV shows? Is it birding or bird watching? Is this some sort of art form? There is something about you, and you have some sort of community. And maybe you might not know that you have some sort of community. You have to like seek that out a little bit. But there's parts of you that make you distinctly you. And so if you're brand new and you're not sure exactly where you want to go to, find one of those areas, whether that's a community that you're involved with or something that you're very enthralled with, and kind of start there to figure out what kinds of groups and people that you can approach for these types of partnership opportunities. Because really, when I think about partnerships, it can be a couple of different things. Partnerships, a lot of the time, especially for me, are visibility opportunities. So it's an opportunity for me to get in front of somebody else's audience. OPA, other people's audiences. Or OPP, other people's platforms. Either way, I talk about those a lot. And this is really helpful, especially when you are starting out. You might not have a community just yet. And so being able to get in front of other people's communities is going to be super valuable. And I want you to think like super big picture. I don't want you to think like specifically travel groups. Like, again, what are these commonalities with other people, or what are the special things about you that make you really unique? And think about the groups and the educational conferences and the events that these types of groups have, that you can meet movers and shakers and people that are doing things, people that have grown communities. Think about the influencers that you love and follow on your social media, because I know we all, unless you're totally off of social media, but there are certain people that you follow on social media. People of influence like that is who you want to maybe not have direct contact with, but you do want to be around their communities, because there are going to be spheres of influence that can help you with these types of collaborations and partnerships for your business. Another thing that I want you to think about is you're really being of service. This is about you, but it's not about you. This is really more about how can you help this other person out? How can you help this other community out? And then also for the community that you are building up, how can you bring value to your audience and your community by partnering with this other person? So one of the things, I kind of have like 4 different things that I think of when I'm thinking about collaborations and kind of, I guess, my process of going through the collaboration process. Number 1, first and foremost, is that you always have to be meeting people. You always have to be connecting with people. I don't think I can say this enough because I don't think enough people talk about this. If nobody knows about you or about your business is not an active, live, thriving business. People need to know about what you do, how you do it, who you do it for. So you need to always be meeting new people and always be connecting with people. And how do you do that? Like, one of my favorite ways to do this really is through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is that hidden gem to be meeting people. If you're currently not connected with LinkedIn, and I know some of you, like myself a couple years ago, probably only joined LinkedIn because they told you to when you were in college. And so the first thing you're going to have to do for LinkedIn is kind of sprucing up your profile. It is going to be a little bit interesting because if you are fully employed still somewhere else, you're going to have to finagle your profile in a certain way, or at least like create a business page. Because I know some people do like to put that separation between like your work persona as well as your business persona. But people that you want to be meeting could be local media people. This could be trade media people. If you're looking just to expand your current travel industry network, who at your host agency, who have you met from different events within the travel industry? Who are your suppliers, your BDM partners, and things like that? Who are some of the people that you're seeing on webinars so that you can connect with? What are some of your favorite brands within the industry? So think of it like that. That's almost like your first level of connections within LinkedIn. And then another way that you can think about connections with LinkedIn is, who do you know locally? Is there local media like newspaper writers or news reporters that you can connect with? Then also start thinking about like those different commonalities. Are there people from your place of worship that are on LinkedIn? Are there other parents that you know on LinkedIn? Are there other people who do your same profession that are LinkedIn? How can you connect them or be a connection that way? Because the beauty of LinkedIn is that once you're connected to different people, you'll start getting suggestions of other people that you may want to follow because of that. So the other platforms don't do this, but LinkedIn does this, where they'll be like, hey, Rita liked this post, or Rita commented on this post. We think you might also like it. And so you can also submit your feedback on whatever post it is, or at least join the conversation. That gets more eyeballs on you as well. This is also a really great way. Once you start building up that network on LinkedIn, you can start finding people that you want to be connected to. And I know LinkedIn is kind of going through some changes now also, because I recently heard that instead of connections, everybody's going to be a follower now. So a whole new terminology as we're going into 2025. But that's something that you really want to build up, is your network on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is purposeful for business. People are in there for some business reason. It's not on there. Well, yes, some people might be sharing personal family photos. It's not like a Facebook. It's not like an Instagram where it's very casually almost business. It is intentional. People are on there because they want to buy, connect, or sell something. And so if you've gotten a little bit leery, 2025 may be the year that you want to start connecting with people on LinkedIn and growing your network from there. It's also a really great place to showcase your authority in whatever niche, whatever travel it is that you do specialize in, which is number 4. But I don't want to jump too far yet on number 4. So what are other places that you can meet and connect with people? Obviously, for me, like the second one would be, if it's not LinkedIn, it's got to be through some sort of event. This can be a virtual event, or this can be an in-person event. And I say event because event is super broad. So I know in January, I'm going to be going to a podcasting conference here in Orlando, Florida. I'm super excited to connect with people. It's not specifically a travel industry event, but there are different people that might be interested on things that I have to do on my agency side, where that's where my cruise retreats kind of comes in. Podcasters are just a natural fit for wanting to get their community together. So it'll be interesting to see kind of like what sparks up for that. I also think of, those community organizations. I'm a member of my local Rotary International. And so if it's not an intentional like business networking thing, what can you get out of what events can you find locally where you can give back to your community? Because if you think about it, like reverse engineering this, people who are giving back to their community, one, have time. Typically, if you're able to give back to the community, you have some form of time because you're dedicating time to give back. And 2, you have some form of income, because if it's not donating time, it's really donating money. So these are going to be really great people to be around and grow your network with authentically that way, with people who have similar values. So that's my shtick about always meeting new people. Also, if you're kind of needing some ideas, my lead generation series from last year will be super helpful. That came out in like March-ish of last year, because I don't know the episode numbers off the top of my head, but I'm thinking it's like in the 140s or 50s. Number 2 thing that I always think about is inviting people to my platform. And for this, I am super happy that I started with creating a platform. And this is also why I'm such a big proponent of macro content, because the more I remember last week I had mentioned about having different assets within your business, and I really think about the macro content. So is that podcasting? Is that blogging? Is that YouTube videos? Because those are also all 3 search engine optimized platforms, which really do the double work for you. And they also serve as assets for your business. So I think if you're not able to necessarily meet, or once I've met somebody, if I can see that they can bring some sort of value to my audience, I invite them over. So for you might not have a podcast, so maybe you invite them to do a guest post on your blog, which would be super helpful. I know they would love it. And in terms of SEO, that also helps boost both of your SEOs when you have backlinks involved in that as well. So being able to, remember, I mentioned at the top of this, to be of service. So being able to invite them to your platform, especially if they're a little bit up and coming, is going to be super helpful in many different ways. This kind of is a fast pass to building that know, like, trust. people will then start thinking about you. I think this is why I love having a platform, is that I'm able to invite people that I might not have known before. And it's almost in the spirit of goodwill. Like, if I know that you're doing something really great within the industry, I want to share that with other people. And I'm hoping that does help generate some sort of revenue or visibility that really helps boost and grow your business. Will it help my business as well? Of course, it's like a byproduct. But if I'm able to help more people, because everybody is almost helped by inviting other people to your platform. You're helped, the other person is helped, and the people that you're trying to assist with your travel services are also helped. So it's just a triple win situation there. So if you don't already have a platform, this may be the year that you want to start thinking, like, what's a platform that I can invite guest experts on to showcase what their expertise is in. I also am thinking about Facebook groups. I don't think the SEO is like high in Facebook groups as it is with like podcasting or blogging, but I think this can be a really great way to still, especially if you're building a community on Facebook group, if you're able to have Facebook Lives and invite somebody on that platform to do some sort of collaboration together, I think that would still be a really valuable incentive and partnership. And I'm also the big proponent of like everything is content. So once you're starting up to build up these like almost content library that you're working on, you can start referencing people to, hey, we just did a live with this. Hey, we just did an episode on this. Hey, I wrote a blog post on this. So you're going to have a collection that also helps boost that authority building within your industry. Number 3, when I'm thinking about these types of partnerships, is coming up with a mutually beneficial solution. So, and that could be just inviting somebody onto my platform. This can also be like, maybe we want to share something together, or maybe we want to like, I am having an event and I know you're a really great speaker on something. So how can I put you out in front? This can also be like being really inventive on how you can put things together, because it's some sort of speaking opportunity. Sometimes it is where that joint venture partnership kind of comes along. And if you're like, what is a joint venture partnership? It's kind of like where you are partnering with another business owner or community leader to build these group trips together, where it's a joint venture that they are doing all of the marketing for you and you are doing all of the travel bookings for them. And so there's typically a lot of perks and all that. I might have to have Michelle Woodson Howell on the podcast thinking about it, because she is one of the amazing experts about joint venture partnerships. So I'm going to write down her name, because she was actually on the inaugural Prep for Wave Week, and I haven't had her on in a while. So now I'm like, ooh, let's have her on to talk about joint venture partnerships, because I feel like she's one of the queens of doing them. And it is very easy for her to find opportunities. Like, I knew that she had recently, since the pandemia, moved over to Florida, and she had visited like a gardening center and immediately kind of like pitched an idea to that gardening center owner about doing like some sort of tulip time cruise. I'm not sure what's happened since, but I know she's done a lot of like whiskey groups and wine groups. So I think that would, talking about a collaboration and a partnership that would be beneficial to you. So very meta. I love when that kind of comes out, because really I want to be able to showcase to you as openly and transparently as possible all the things that I'm doing that you can also translate to your business. So I feel like that was a really great way of coming up with a mutually beneficial solution. Then number 4 is to remember that you have to be of value. Like, you cannot come out of this or come into collaborations and partnerships with a sense of selfishness and this is just for me, because that's going to come off very much out in the open and people will not want to work with you in the future. I can nearly guarantee it because I know a lot of people that kind of do things very selfishly or self-serving, who might publicly look like everything is handy dandy, and then privately just hearing so many stories of poo-poo going on in the background. So first and foremost, you have to be doing this of value. You have to also be known for something. So you have to be willing to share of yourself. And then you also have to be known for something, which is why I say you need to start putting out content if you haven't already, or you need to start doing like some research to build your authority in whatever topic it is that you want to be known for. Whatever, this could be like mom group trips, this can be single mom trips, this can be single parent trips, this can be family trips to Antarctica, whatever it is that you want to be known for. You have to have some expertise behind there, because that also makes you more susceptible that people are going to want to work with you and have you on their platforms. I think like that's the other side of this, is that it's not only you creating partnership opportunities, but you putting the openness out there. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but being open that the opportunities also come back to you because you've done so much goodwill. You've put out so much content. You've helped so many people out within your industry that naturally they're going to start seeking you out. And something that I think about here is podcast guesting, which I think I mentioned last week on last week's episode. I do want to have an episode about podcast guesting because I think that this is a really great partnership, collaboration that you can have with other business owners in your niche. And I'm not saying like, again, travel specific. I'm saying what else is outside of that travel realm that you belong to that can be mutually beneficial for both you and the host. They get really great content and you get really great exposure to people who had no idea who you were in the past before that episode. And then you're also building up your Rolodex, your content library. So if people want to ask, like, where have you been featured in the media before? That is something that you can pitch to them, is like, oh, this podcast episode or this webinar or masterclass or on this live. So number 4 really is a culmination of being of value, becoming known for something, spreading goodwill. This, I think, is really one of the byproducts of collaborating with good people and just wanting to be a good person. I love it when I'm able to mention names in rooms where those names may not have been mentioned before. And I see it time and time again, like both within the industry and also outside of the industry. And this is why you just need to be golden rule, like a good human, so that people do share your name in these rooms as well. So that's kind of like when I think about collaborations and partnerships, that's how I go about it. I first need to be constantly meeting new people because I might not know what a potential collaboration and partnership might be directly. But as long as I'm meeting new people, having coffee chats, that is the other part, is that it's not just meeting new people, but staying in touch with new people. So especially if I've connected with somebody on LinkedIn, and this is going to be like one of my missions for January, is that I want to take that relationship off of just the LinkedIn platform. Like I want to meet you usually via Zoom because I can't be everywhere. And so that's typically, I'm going to schedule like a 30-minute coffee chat with you and we're going to discuss, like, I want to learn all about your business and what you do. And you're typically going to want to be interested in me and what I do. And then we either on the spot can kind of come up with different collaborations, that mutually beneficial solution. Or we might say, hey, I need a referral here, referral there. It's just, you're making friends essentially within your industry, so that people are aware of you. And then also if there's other opportunities that might come down the road, they also think of you for those opportunities, because you just never know where a relationship really is going to take you. There's a relationship that I had created from back in 2021 that I could have never imagined where that would have taken me. And it's taken me on the best road. So you also have to be open for the possibilities and all these different things that can happen. If you're kind of like, what's a coffee chat, Rita? I have another episode for you. That's episode 86, where I did kind of talk about setting up different coffee chats for people as well. So kind of to recap how I think about collaboration / my step-by-step of when I'm thinking about collaborations and partnerships, because this is going to be a big thing that I'm doing this year as well, is that I need to be meeting people. Step 1 is I need to be meeting more people. I need to be getting on coffee chats with people. Step 2, not always, but typically, is that I need to invite them on my platform in some way. It might not be immediate. It may be down the line. It may be through something else. But I typically like to get people involved by inviting them on my platform somehow. If it's not step 2, then it's step 3, where we come up with some sort of mutually beneficial solution. So sometimes when I have asked for a partnership to happen, it's not the right time or it's not the right thing for the partnership, but something else is. So again, being open to substitutions and differences that come up with the plan than what you might have originally had in mind. And then 4, always keeping in mind that you have to be known for something and you have to be of value. And this does need to be done in the spirit of service. So let me know, do you want like more nitty gritty on these collaborations and partnerships and how they can really build your business? Because it really is a gateway. It's a visibility opportunity. And then you just never know like what's going to happen. So it's like, this is the visibility opportunity. And once you have people in your atmosphere, hopefully you're going through your sales funnel, inviting people to sign up to your lead magnet or sign up to your email list or follow you on social media. And then from there, hopefully you're doing some sort of pitch, whether that's to get on a discovery call with you, to join the next group trip that you're having so that you can sell them. You're moving them along the funnel, because it's not just that you're getting in front of tons of people. This is also with a purpose, because you need to eat as well. Which means you need to have conversions within your business. So thinking mindfully, this is the first step in order for all those other important steps to happen. So you can shoot me a text with your thoughts on this, but that is it for me. I hope that this was helpful, kind of getting a little bit in my brain about what I think about partnerships and collaborations. And I will see you all next week. Happy New Year again, and I will talk to you soon, everybody. Bye. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.